Hi guys, it's Mrs. Millison. Hey, I wanted to spend a couple minutes and show you guys how to use your Z-table because just in case your calculator is not working or you don't have a working calculator for the AP test, I want you to be able to use the tables, which I've posted the tables and all the formula sheets on Google Classroom. Okay, all right, our Z-table, and again, we've done this in the calculator, so I'll show you it in the calculator, I'll show you on the table. The Z-table allows you to find find your area associated with the Z-score, and vice versa. Let you find a Z-score associated with an area. There's 2 pages to the Z-table, and this is just in the back of the book. Okay, there's a negative Z-score side, so these are all Z-scores to the left of the median, or the mean, excuse me. And then the next page are the positive Z-scores, which are all Z-scores to the right of the mean. Okay, so of course all these areas will be greater than a half because this area from any Z-score over here to the left is greater than a half, but then for the negative side, all these areas will be less than a half because at your mean, the area to the left is a half. Okay, which brings me to my next point about the Z-table. All of these areas in the table are from the Z-score to the left. So if we want to find to the right, we're going to have to do a little bit of math. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do a couple examples, and I'll give you guys some practice. Okay. I feel like this is a little dark. There's a little shadow on it. Okay. All right, so the first problem that we have here, I don't know, I just thought of something. The length of sharks is approximately normal with a mean of 10 feet and a standard deviation of 1.3 feet. That's not true. Whatever, I'm just making it up. Okay, so we want to find the area associated with, or the probability that a randomly selected shark is going to be 8 feet or less. Okay, so of course we have to Z-score. So let me Z-score. 8 minus 10 over 1.3. We'll do that real quick, and it's negative 1.54 is our Z-score. Okay, now typically we would take our calculator and we would do normal CDF. We'd go from negative infinity to negative 1.54, and we would get this area, or this probability, about a 6.2% chance of a shark being 8 feet or less. Okay, but if we don't have a working calculator, let me show you how to do it in the table. Okay, so in the Z-table, I'll show you over here, we're going to break our Z-score up. So we're going to do the first digit on each side of the decimal. So we're going to do negative 1.5. And then on the top, we're going to look for 0.04. So we're going to find the intersection to get us negative 1.54. Okay? So when we find the intersection of those two values, we should find our probability or our area that corresponds to the shaded area. Okay? So if I go to my Z-table, let's see. Negative 1.5 is right here. 0.04 is right here. And I got 0.0618, which is pretty much exactly, can you see? Exactly what I got in the calculator. Okay? Let me write that down. So 0.0618. So I would say that probability, so that would be my probability of a shark being 8 feet or less. Okay, that's also a p-value. If this was a significance test for proportions, and I had a z-test statistic of negative 1.54 or 1.54, okay, I could find that area, and that would be my p-value. Now, of course, that's not low enough at the 5% level, but it is at the 10% level. But anyway, okay, we good? All right, let's do one now. I'm going to find the area to the right. So again, I want to find the probability that a shark's going to be 9 feet or greater. So of course, I've got a Z-score. And my Z-score is negative 0.77. So in my Z-table, I'm going to have to do negative 0.7 and then 0.7 up here. Okay? And again, I know my Z-scores are negative because they're on the left of the mean. Okay? So let's see. Negative 0.7 is right here. And then, what was it, 0.7? Sorry, I'm going to come down here. So that'll give me 0.2206. So that's my probability, okay? 0.2206, but that doesn't make sense. That's only about 22%, and that looks like more than 50%. So remember, this area that you're getting in the table is the area to the left. So this is my 22.06%, okay? This area to the left. So all I have to do is subtract that from 1, okay? And if I subtract that from 1, I get 0.7794. So that's my answer. That's my 77.94%. Let's do it in the calculator. Just double check ourselves. And we'll do, let's see. Oh, normal CDF. This time I'm going to go from negative 0.77 to a gazillion. And there you go. I get my 0.7794. Okay? All right. Let's do a between. Let's do a between. Now I did between 9 and 11 and a half feet. 9, I've already got the z-score, right? So this goes from 0.77. So all we'll have to do is really z-score 11 and a half. So let's see, 11 and a half z-score is 1.15, okay? So in my z-table, I'm going to look up 1.1 and then 0.5. Now, of course, this one's on the right side, so I've got to flip to the positive z-scores. So here's my positive z-scores, and what I want, 1.1. So there's 1.1, and then 0.5. So 0.8749, okay? That's 0.8749. Okay, so if you think about it, from this point to the left, this whole thing is 87 or 0.8749, okay, about 88% of the curve. But then from this area, coming off of this question, this area to the left is the 22, okay, percent. So if I take my 87 and I subtract my 22, I'll get my difference, okay? So 0.8749 minus. And then that gives me 0.6543. Yep. Okay, let's check that in the calculator just so you can see it working in the calculator. Let me move this up a little bit so you can see everything. Okay, normal CDF. We're going to go this time from negative 0.77 up to 1.15. And there's my 0.6543. Okay? All right. Let's go backwards. Now let's find a z-score based on area, okay? Now I know this z-score is going to be negative, okay? Over here, it's got to be negatives on the left side. So I know this area is 14%, okay, or the proportion 0.14, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I don't know my z-score, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for 0.1400 in the guts of the table, okay? Now I know I got to go back to my negative z-scored side. Okay, so we are looking for 0.144 in the guts of the table. So 0.1, what is it? 14? Okay, so it looks like it's between these two, okay? Now which one is numerically absolute value closer? This one. This is only 0.0001 away. That's like 21 away, okay? You with me? So this one is closer. So I'm going to find the z-score associated with that. So that would be negative 1.08, okay? So negative 1.0 and then 08. So this z-score would be negative 1.08, okay? Now let's check that in the calculator. Now typically for this one, I would do inverse norm, right? My area to the left is 0.14. And there's my z-score, negative 1.08, okay? Now for this one, I'm told it's 28% to the right, but in order to look in the guts of the table, this area is to the left. So all I gotta do is figure out what that area to the left is. And let's see, 28%, I don't know, what's 100 minus 28? 72? Right, 72? So if I look up 0.7200 in the guts of the table, This time I know my z-score is positive, so I'm going to have to come over to the positive side and look up 0.7200. Let's see, 0.72. Here we go. Always on the far end, aren't I? Whoops. Okay, so again, 0.7200 somewhere in here. So where is it closest? This is 9 away, and this is, oh, excuse me, this is 10 away, and this is 24 away, so this one's closer. So I have a z-score of 0.58, okay? So 0.5 and 0.8. So my z-score is 0.58, okay? And let's check that in the calculator. Inverse norm. I'm going to do 0.28 to the right, okay, because that's what it is. And there's my z-score, 0.58, okay? So that's how you do it. Let me give you guys some practice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up, and you can stop the video, try it, crack open your book, get to your z-table, try it, and then start the video back up, and I'll go over it. Okay. All right. So I'll give you time to stop. Okay, so now you have tried it, and you've started back up. Okay, so the first thing I gotta do is z-score this. Okay, so z is, let's see, 30 minus 23 over 5.4. I don't have a context for that. I don't know what that is. Kittens, who knows? Okay, so that would be 1.30. So what I have to do in my table is go to 1.3 and then 0.0, okay? So again, this is a positive z-score, so I'm on the positive side. So 1.3 and then 0 is right here, so 0.9032. So 0.9032 is that area, okay? And we can check in the calculator, but I know it's right. Okay. All right. There's number 2, if you want to try number 2, and then I'll come back and tell you the answer. Okay. So first thing we have to do is z-score. So 25 minus 23 over 5.4. That yields us a z-score of 0.37. And again, it's to the values to the right of the mean. So I know this is a positive z-score. So in my table, I just got to look up 0.3 and then 0.07. Okay, so 0.3 and then 0.07 is 0.6443. So 0.6443. But again, that area is to the left. So if I want to figure out the area to the right, I just have to subtract it from 1. So 0.3557. So that's the area associated with that z-score to the right. Okay. All right, try number 3, and then turn it back on to check your answer. Okay, so let's z-score it. And I get a z-score of negative 0.56. Okay, so in my table, I got to go to negative 0.5 and then 0.06. Now this is a negative, so I got to flip back to the negative z table. I can't remember what I was looking up. Negative 0.5. Oh my God, it's way down there. Negative 0.5 and then 0.06, which is right here. So I'm going to go all the way down. So I get 0.2877, right? 0.2877. And that is the area to the left. So that's my answer. Okay. All right, let's do an area to the right with a positive z-score. So give yourself a second to do that, and then turn the video back on and check. All right, first we'll z-score. 19 minus 23, 5.4. What is this one? Negative 0.74. Let me double check that. Yeah, okay. So if I go to my table, let's see, negative 0.7 and then 0.04. Okay, so negative 0.7 and then 0.04. 0.2296, right? Oops, 0.2296. But again, that's not 22%, 23%. That's 23%. So all I have to do is subtract that from 1 to get to area to the get the area to the right. I can't even talk. And that's 0.7704. That's a 7. Okay, so that's my answer to that one. Okay, now for this last one, number 5, to go the area between, I used two values that we already had z-scores for. Okay, so 20, we have a z-score from number 3. Oh, I should give you guys a second to try it, and then you can turn the video back on. Okay, so the z-score for 20 is negative 0.56, and then the z-score for 30 was from number 1, which is 1.30. Okay, so the area associated with a z-score of 1.3 or 30, so this was all 0.9032, and then the area associated with 20, our area to the left, was 0.2877. So if I take those two areas and subtract them, I will get the area in between, or my probability. Okay? All right, let's practice a few of finding the z-score from the area. So we got an 11% area to the left here. Oh, and I forgot to write 18% to the right. Okay, give you guys a minute. Go ahead and turn the video off and try those, where you're looking in the guts of the table and getting a z-score, and then turn it back on and I'll go over. Okay, all right, so for this one, all I got to do is look in the guts of the table for 11%. So I'm looking for 0.11. I always add the 2 zeros just because I know the guts of the table has has 4 digits in the areas. And I know my z-score is going to be negative since it's on the left. So I'm going to go to my negative z-scores. So let's look for 0.11. Where am I? Too far away. 10. Here we go. Okay. So these are the two values in the guts of the table that are closest to 0.11. Okay. Now that one is physically only 12 units away, and that one, ooh, that one's only 7 units away. Okay. So this one is actually closer to 0.11. Okay. So we're going to take this one. So my z-score will be negative 0.1 or negative 1.23. Okay. You with me? So I had negative 1.2 and then 0.3. So my z-score is negative 1.23, okay, associated with that 11%, okay? And then for number 2, I can't look up 18%. I can't look up 0.188 in the guts of the table because the table only shows area to the left. So I got to figure out what that area to the left is. What is that, 0.8200? So this would be 82%, right? 8, 9, 10. So let's look up that in the guts of the table. Okay, and again, I know it's going to be a positive z-score because my value, my shaded area is on the right. Okay, so I know this z over here is going to be positive. So let's go to the positive table and look up 0.8200. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. This one's only 12 units away, and this one is 14 units away. So this one is actually closer. So my z-score will be 0.92. Okay, so 0.9 and then 0.02. So my z-score, where am I writing this, is 0.92. Okay, so that's how you use your z-table, just in case your calculator isn't working for the AP test. Okay, I'll see you later. Message me with any questions.